Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio joins us with more. Senator, good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's talk about the state of the race. All right, we've got two polls. The most recent polls have you third in Iowa, but second in New Hampshire. And then we've got two polls head-to-head against Hillary Clinton. This one has you up, believe it or not, the Fox News poll, 50 to 41% in a head-to-head matchup against Hillary. So tell us from your side the state of the race.
Yeah, well, I know Hillary doesn't want to run against me, but I can't wait to run against her. She is everything that we don't need in America. We can't afford another 4 years like the last 7. Just today, another article comes out about how allies of hers and staffers of hers were conspiring to try to start up Palestinian protests. This was reported just today. They found in the emails this plan to try to stir up protests among Palestinians to force Israel back to the negotiating table. Not to mention, she lied to the family of the victims of Benghazi about what caused that attack. Not to mention the way she's handled classified and sensitive information on her emails. She is completely disqualified from being commander-in-chief. I really hope I'm our nominee because I can't wait to run against her.
What do you make of the instructions that she gave to one of her staffers to literally, it was a back and forth where she said, turn it into non-paper with no identifying heading and send it non-secure. Now, she said she never sent or received classified emails. That became sent or received marked classified emails. And here she's telling somebody to identify it as not marked when in fact it was. Do you think laws are broken?
Well, this is... Well, that's what the FBI should be looking at. I'm going to let them make judgment on that, and the Justice Department. I don't have any confidence this president's Justice Department will do anything about it. Here's what I can tell you. When I'm president of the United States, neither she nor any of the other people are going to be above the law, whether it's her or Eric Holder for what he did on Fast and Furious or any of these other folks. People are going to be held accountable if they broke the laws of this country. This president obviously is willing to protect his political cronies. But we're going to hold people accountable. Nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton, even though she thinks she is. And of course, she did all of this. By the way, it doesn't matter. She did all this because she wanted it for convenience. And so she didn't care that she exposed classified and sensitive information to espionage from the Chinese and the Russians. But there'll be a full accounting of all this when I'm president and we have a real Justice Department with a real Attorney General.
You're saying if the FBI were to either recommend an indictment or if they sent information that indicates she did in fact break the law, and Loretta Lynch does not go forward with an indictment, that if you become president, you would follow up on any potential law breaking?
Yeah, what I can tell you, I can't order the Justice Department to do anything. Unlike this president, I'm not going to interfere in these agencies doing their job. I will say this, I am confident. In fact, I know for sure that I will have appointed, when I'm president, an attorney general who will follow the law and apply it. Not one that conspires with me to undermine the Second Amendment, and not one that looks the other way when cronies of the current president are committing lawlessness, as has been, I believe, the case with regards to Hillary Clinton's emails.
Rudy Giuliani, former prosecutor himself, he's identified 16 specific laws that he believes should be investigated that possibly could have been violated. Are you convinced that Hillary Clinton broke the law?
Well, let's continue to gather the facts. Again, I think that we're going to let that way I don't want people to accuse this of being some sort of political thing. This is about what's right and what's wrong, what's legal and what's illegal. I do have confidence in the FBI. I do not believe the FBI is politicized. I think they're going to conduct a full investigation, and they're going to provide that information to the Justice Department. And what I'm saying to you today, if laws were broken, I will have an attorney general when I am president that will hold people to account, whoever they are, for having violated our laws.
Because things are so tight, particularly in New Hampshire, where you are consistently now in second place, you will become a target. But you're also fighting back. More specifically with Governor Chris Christie, there's been a back and forth. You talked about him supporting Planned Parenthood and Sonia Sotomayor and gun control legislation, which he ran on in 2009. How intense is this going to get before New Hampshire?
Well, look, this is not personal. These are not personal attacks. He's been attacking me for over a month, but they're not personal attacks. I just believe that the Republican nominee and the next president of the United States has to be someone that is going to undo the damage Barack Obama has done. Our next president needs to be a strong defender of the Second Amendment, not someone who ran for office supporting gun control. That's what I will do. I will be a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. Our next president cannot be someone that supports Common Core. Chris supports Common Core. Our next president cannot be someone who thinks that Sonia Sotomayor would be a good Supreme Court justice. He supported her nomination. And our next president must be someone who will defund Planned Parenthood, not write checks to them like like he did personally. These are all facts. It's not personal. It is important, however, that our next president be someone who will undo the damage Barack Obama has done to America. When I'm president, I will.
All right. In one poll, and this is the Marist poll, NBC poll, it has you beating Hillary Clinton by 5 points. Cruz beats her by 4 points. In the Fox News poll, you're winning by 9, and Cruz is winning by 7. But the bottom line is you do better than any other candidate in terms of a head-to-head matchup against Hillary. But you don't do as well in terms of the general election, primary election numbers. So why do you think there is that divide there?
Well, there's still a lot of choices in the field. Like I said, there's a lot of people still running, and they are going to be in the race for some time. And so, of course, that segments the voters a little bit. But what I'm confident of is now that we're after the new year, voters are starting to really tune into the race now. They're asking the important questions. They're learning more about the candidates beyond the superficial. And I believe that we're going to continue to grow in our support. So I am very confident about where we're going to be when the delegates are counted and we're down the stretch here. But we're going to let the process play out. We feel very confident about our plan, about our campaign, about our message. And here's the bottom line. When I'm president of the United States, all of these things Barack Obama has done to try to take from this country everything that makes it special, all of those things are gone. We are going to get this country back on the right track. We're returning to the Constitution. We're returning to the principles that we're going to re-embrace the principles that made America great. We're going to apply them to the challenges of this new economy and this new era, and we are going to make this country as special, if not more so, than it's ever been.
I don't think anybody imagined starting out how big immigration would be in this election cycle, but it seems to get bigger and bigger. We saw the New Year's Eve sex attacks that took place in Europe, for example, yet the president still insists we should take in Syrian refugees. Because it's changed, in other words, the debate has changed and shifted, and we've had so many issues at our own border and so many issues abroad with Syrian refugees. Have you altered your position? Because there's been a back and forth going with you and Ted Cruz about who was where in 2013, et cetera. I'm not interested in that debate. I'm interested in where you are now based on the fact that this has become front and center.
Yeah, well, number one, I do not support amnesty, and when I'm president, there will not be amnesty. Criminal aliens are going to be immediately deported. Sanctuary cities are going to lose their federal funding. Number two, we are going to enforce our immigration laws. I've already supported that repeatedly in the past. 700 miles of fencing and walls in key sectors, 20,000 new border agents, mandatory E-Verify. All of those things are going to happen when I'm president. That's not the debate that's changed. The issue has changed. You now have a radical jihadist group that is using our immigration system against us. So we have to treat this issue differently because the issue has changed. This is now about ISIS trying to get people into this country as refugees, as doctors, as students, as fiancés, through the visa waiver program. So it's very straightforward. When I am president, unless we know who you are 100% for sure, and we know why you're coming to America, we're not going to let you in. It's that simple. That's what we're going to do when I'm president.
You once told me that the comprehensive bill that you supported was a mistake and you wouldn't do it again, and it wasn't really what you wanted. No, basically, with the president now having a Syrian refugee at the State of the Union, he's obviously sending a message. What message do you want to send back about where you are now on not only Syrian refugees, but all the people last summer that crossed the border?
Well, let's be clear. I've always been for an immigration system that keeps us safe. The problem is that we didn't have ISIS 2.5 or 3 years ago. ISIS is not just a terrorist group. It is a sophisticated group that has a real good understanding of our immigration system, and we know for a fact are trying to use it to get people into this country. So we have to change our approach because the issue has changed. And where I am is pretty straightforward. We are compassionate. Our hearts break at the story of what some of these refugees are going through. But our number one obligation is to keep America safe. When I am president of the United States, if we do not know 100% for sure who you are, or 100% for sure why you're trying to come, we're not going to let you into the country. It's that straightforward. That's going to be the rule when I'm president.
Okay, take us beyond New Hampshire and walk us through your strategy for South Carolina, Nevada, Super Tuesday.
Well, we feel great about South Carolina. We were there a week ago on Saturday. We had 1,500 people turn out in Hilton Head. We were back again this weekend. We had events, 600-700 people at each of them. Of course, Trey Gowdy has now endorsed us. We've been working very closely with him in South Carolina. We feel great about our team. We feel great about Nevada. The Lieutenant Governor of Nevada, Mark Hutchison, is our chairman there. We've got a great team on the ground. And then we feel great about the states that come after that as well. Right now, of course, the bulk of our focus is on Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. But we're ready for the other states. I feel great about our campaign. I think this is really where the campaign, the rubber meets the proverbial road. And I think as people learn more about what I've done, who I am, and what I will do when I am president, our support's only going to grow, Sean.
It looks like it's now been winnowed down to 3 people, you, Cruz, and Donald Trump. It's getting interesting. Senator, thanks as always. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Sean.